vlog number 3. I'm super excited for this episode because I'm going to share all of the projects I've completed so far in 2023. A little backstory before we get going. I've been knitting since I was around 12, so it's been 20 years. Insert time here for the old lady Rose in Titanic when she's standing reminiscing. It's been 80 years. That's what it feels like. It's only been 20. But boy, oh boy, life happened in 20 years and here we are. That being said, I learned when I was in the kids version of Les Miserables in my community theater. The Nokia phone had just broken out on the scene. We were all trying to play Snake. Snake was not enjoyed or supported by anyone else who was trying to run this production or rehearsal, so we could not be on our phones. And like the rehearsal area was to the right and the seating area when you weren't rehearsing was to the left. And you can't have a group of preteens playing Snake on their Nokia phone while Jean Valjean is trying to sing a song, you know? So we took up knitting, my friends and I, and we would sit on these super old couches, drinking pop and knitting in between times we were supposed to be on stage. As you do in community theater when you're a kid, making friends, doing all the musicals and fun things. So that's how I started. And it was a garter stitch for life situation. I did it just for fun. I did it as a stress relief thing. I did it as something to distract my hands. I did it to pass the time. There was the purpose of completing a project. Like that wasn't a thing. To have the project, I didn't care. It was all about the process. And to this day, I'm still very much a process-oriented knitter. I do pick projects to knit that I want to have and wear, obviously, because my whole point of having clothing now made by myself is to wear it and to clothe myself. Because I'm just done with stores. Unless it's a knitting store. I'm not done with knitting stores. Love myself a knitting store. I'm done with regular stores. I don't know. Can you be done with regular stores? Please let me know. I'm tired, friends. I'm tired of buying things outside of yarn and knitting paraphernalia. So that is a very long way of saying that I did basic things for a very long time. I started knitting in the round when I was a teenager, and I made some hats. I followed no patterns. I learned how to purl. My math teacher in 8th grade taught me how to purl. So I had my knits, I had my purls, I had a circular set of needles in high school, and the world could not stop me. I could not be held back, and I just made all the circular things and all the square and rectangular things, tubular things. It was a great time. And in 2009, I graduated and took those skills with me. And through college and grad school and adult life, I just would kind of make up my own patterns and make up my own crafty, very extremely mediocre items. I still wear them. I have them. I use them every winter. I gifted them to my family and friends. Everyone has just a closet full of really mediocre stuff made by me, and I'm so sorry. But this year, the year of our days, 2023, I decided in January that I was going to learn how to follow directions and knit a pattern, and that's what I did. So I shared in my first episode, the very first sweater I knit was that gray Wool in the Gang, Crazy Sexy Wool yarn, and I knit Caidree's Gallant sweater. I loved it so much. I had it saved in my Pinterest, and January I was like, no one's stopping me. And so I was doing some light walking for work, and when I wasn't on stage doing that, I was off stage knitting, as you will typically find me. I bring my knitting to work all the time. So today I wanted to share with you the garments I have made backstage at the Met and in my bedroom this summer. No, actually all of these were made at the Met, actually. So thank you, Met Opera, for employing me and helping me make crafts. I'll start. This was the second Gallant sweater I made, and it's special because there were modifications that I personally made to the pattern, which is terrifying since it was my second pattern. I sewed in the ends here, and as you can see, didn't sew them in well. This is a theme. I'm gonna tuck it back in on the inside so it doesn't bother anyone. It will bother me if I see it flailing out the top. Typically they don't if it's socks or something, but that would bother me. So, modifications. I did a 2x2 rib here for the neck. You can't really see anything because the color is called TV static. It's TV static. I love this sweater to death. It is so soft. Yes, it pills. Yes, it is too hot for this climate. I'm originally from Wisconsin, and winter has scarred me for life from there, and I just expect everywhere to be -40. I don't think Manhattan's known what that is. Like, last winter, it thought about snowing twice, and there were some flakes, and then it melted before it hit the ground, and that's what they called snow. And I've been here for 8 years, and we have had a couple really dismal blizzards where the snow went up to your knees and like the subways got all shut down, and that was actually pretty horrible. But I think that's gonna be every winter, and that's just not the case. It's too warm here usually. So I've had two days this last year that were legitimately cold enough to wear this, and then the other times I wore it, I had to take it off because I was dying inside. I was sweating so much, but I love it. Also, I did a 2x2 rib bottom with this really nice I-cord edge. I learned how to do an I-cord from this pattern and was just like putting I-cords on everything. It was a moment, and that moment will forever live in this sweater. Oh, Abby, oh no. Anyway, I did an I-cord edge to this 2x2 rib. It's just kind of, when it's worn, you can see that it is the bottom of the sweater. There is no question. But what I loved about making sweaters is that I can make it to fit myself. I'm 5'2". I'm short and a petite person, and most clothes are too long and too boxy. And so now I can make them fit me because I'm in charge, and that is a blessing and a curse. This I made too short. I was really just like, crop it or go home, and I cropped it. So I love it. I'll put a picture of myself wearing it here. Otherwise, I'm sitting on the floor, so I'll just awkwardly be up and down this whole time, and no one wants to see that. So I'll put a picture of this, but just for reference, this is the sleeves, and like this is the bottom of the sweater. So I could have added another inch. It wouldn't have taken very long. This yarn is thick, but alas, this was the second sweater I knit. The first sweater no longer exists. It was turned into 4 hats, and I talked about that in the first episode. The second sweater I knit was a pattern by Bethany from Well Loved Knits. I got into watching knitting channels, and I saw her seamless mock neck sweater, which is what I wanted the TV static first sweater. That's like the color idea that I wanted from this neck line here. This is what inspired that situation. That shouldn't have happened, but it works much better with a finer yarn, you know. This, I used the Andes drops, and it's a very nice, affordable yarn. It is, maybe it's worsted. I can't, honestly, I can't remember. The sleeve is a little balloon-esque balloon sleeve. I love this. Again, it's too hot here to wear this. I wore this twice, I think, on days where the trucks would be loading and unloading, so there'd be like winter air coming into the theater and be cold, so you'd want a sweater on inside. Obviously, this is too thick. This is like too heavy for New York, but so cute. It is so cute. I'll put a picture of this. It is a drop shoulder. Look at this. There's like a seam that goes down that drop shoulder. So cute. I love this so much. That's the bottom. And it is also cropped, but it isn't like too cropped. It isn't like the TV static sweater. This is an appropriately cropped sweater. And I love it. It's cozy, it's soft. I liked working with the drops. I purchased it from, because it's Norwegian. It's a Norwegian brand, I think. And it's not sold in the States, so it took about 2 weeks to get here. But it wasn't bad, and it was worth it. That is the color. That is brown. It looks more brown in the camera. In person, it's like a purpley brown, and that was startling initially, but it has grown on me, and I like it. Next, I made this Cocoon sweater. This yarn originally was supposed to be a Gallant sweater, but I mentally wasn't ready yet to follow directions, and so that had to get pulled apart. And this is just a little Cocoon cardigan. It is a straight up slab of knitting. It is just, is this a rib? No. I actually don't know what this is. I knit this so long ago, I don't really remember, but I know this is a seed stitch border. But it is like a cocoon-esque cardigan. This is a sleeve, this is a sleeve. You fold things in half, you seam it. I'll show you my terrible sewing skills sewn on the inside. And then what I like to do, I like antique shops, I like old stuff. And when I'm at antique shops, I like to look at buttons and keys and see if there's anything cool and unusual that I can use on a project. And so I had some cool buttons that I wanted to use. So this is on the underarm of the cardigan, just as like little details. This is on the side, like a lapel up here. Just some buttons as decoration. I think these are from a vintage shop in Eau Claire, I think, when I was visiting my family. So that is this, like, look, it is a big rectangle sewn on the ends, and they called it a cardigan, and I was like, yes, that is a cardigan. That is a blanket. This is a blanket that is sewn on the ends that makes it a blanket shirt. That is not a cardigan. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyway, I think I might pull that apart. I might make it into a real sweater. I don't know. Whatever moves me. Then, let's see. I discovered Petiteknit. And thus started the whole, I feel like we all find ourselves in when we find Petiteknit, and we just keep going farther and farther down. Anyway, I really wanted to knit the Scotty sweater, but I had only ever knit the thickest sweaters in the world. And that is a 4 out of 5 star difficulty pattern, and that I need to learn my lane. So I ended up choosing the Monday sweater, and this is the best. It is significantly lighter in fabric. I used We Are Knitters Finita yarn. I have like mohair everywhere, so sorry as you watch me touch my face and itch my nose and pull mohair out of my face. But I used the We Are Knitters Finita, that is the cinnamon color, and I used Mohair and Suri Alpaca. So the Suri Alpaca is what I used in the collar. That's why it looks a little fluffier. And the Suri are the whiter stripes in the color Jupiter. And then the more cinnamony stripe is the Mohair. Same Jupiter color family, but this is Mohair and this is Suri Alpaca. And I wanted to stripe it. And then the sleeves are just Mohair alone. And I love this. It is perfect for fall. It reminds me of fall in New York City. I just finished a Sophie scarf inspired scarf that is in a Suri Alpaca and Finita combo held double. And I had mentioned in that video that also reminded me of New York in the fall. And just, it is. This is New York City in the fall. This is pumpkin spice lattes and coffee in the morning and bacon, egg, and cheese and crunchy leaves and horns. It's New York in the fall and a brownstone. Like a walk down the Upper West Side looking at brownstones and Central Park. I love it. I love it. So that is this sweater. I finished this one during Don Giovanni, I think. Yes, because I took a picture of it in my costume, in my dressing room. It's not personally mine. It is the dressing room for us. But yeah, so it actually looks quite cute with my costume. And then I took it off because I could not go to stage wearing that. So then over the summer in June, I had to knit another sweater. I don't believe in knitting for the season. I believe in knitting for what you want to knit for, because we're not promised tomorrow, and I don't want to knit summer things. So I have been knitting sweaters all year. I've been working with wool since January. I still love Caidree. Started on the Caidree train. I'm still riding that Caidree train. And I wanted to knit the Dartmoor sweater. So I did. I am so pleased. And as you can see, nothing has been sewn in. All of the ends are fully out in the open, even the collar. I'm so proud of this. This sweater, I got the yarn from the Brooklyn General Store. If you live in the New York City area, you must explore the Brooklyn General Store. It is amazing. And they have this yarn by the Dye Project that is called Sea Change Fibers. And that is what the like variegated lighter green is. I used the color Springtime Forest, and I held it double with the Petroleum Green by Knitting for Olive, because everyone talks about Knitting for Olive, and I wanted to know what all the hype was about, because all I had used was Fig and Posy Fiber Company, and I was obsessed with that mohair. But I was like, you know what, you should try something new. I was disappointed in the Knitting for Olive mohair. I don't want to sound like a snob or anything, but that mohair, I am surprised that there's mohair in this garment. That mohair flew off the yarn. It was in my mouth, it was in my hands, it was on my clothes, it was shedding everywhere. I used 5 balls. No, that's a lie. 4 balls, 5 balls of the worsted, Ecola Worsted, springtime, the green, the Petroleum Mohair. I used 4 balls. For example, I wish I don't have any more. I used it up, but actually all 4 balls went into the sweater, nothing left. But for example, this is like the remnants of what's left of my second Fig and Posy Fiber Company Mohair. Look at that halo. This is so fluffy. Like a single strand is just fluff, 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 fluff everywhere. Not itchy, not irritating, so soft. It is kid silk mohair and silk. It is just thick. Like, it is not a halo, it is a crown. It is a crown of fluff. And it fluffs up in the sweater, like it lifts right off the stitches. Not the experience I had with knitting for Olive. I know a lot of people like it. It comes in a lot of colors, then that's awesome. But as far as mohairs go, there are better ones out there, and I am looking to just explore more. But the Fig and Posy Fiber Company Mohair, hands down so far, is my favorite. This is the, lay it flat, haloing. Like there's a little bit of haloing here. I mean, it is certainly soft. I wouldn't call it fluffy. This Monday sweater that I'm working on, this is fluffy. This is just like lightly cozy, but it is thick, it is heavy. I have not had a chance to wear it yet because I finished it in June and it was like 80. But I will take pictures of this wearing it. It is beautiful. I love the collar. I love a folded, squishy, thick collar. I love the variegation. This is the front. This is the back. I love the little detail here on the shoulders. That is why I wanted this pattern, along with the folded neck and how thick that was. And I would love to knit another one. Knitting this was one of the greatest joys. I had so much fun. It was like knitting my Monday sweater. It's just good. It was a good time. Good time feelings, good time vibes. I love this and highly recommend it. And last but not least, a good friend of mine who is a hardcore knitter. She knits all the things. She does lace. She follows directions very well. She wanted to do Friendship Has Lace Borders together because she is in Wisconsin and I'm in New York. And it's a friendship top. So I was like, hell yeah, absolutely. I want to knit that with you. And then I was terrified because there was lace. I was like, girl, you want me to do what with my what, when, and where? But this is the top. I am so happy with how it turned out. I should have buttoned this. I did not think ahead. The buttons are from the Brooklyn General Store. I will show them to you. I'm just gonna put the top button on and the bottom button on so the shirt's not flying open. I love the buttons. They are this kind of iridescent shell and these cute little flowers. The flowers go in the holes, I promise. I'm not gonna take the time. The fabric I really enjoy. The lace, that's what this is. The lace turned out so much better than I had anticipated. Like, this could have gone really bad for me. And it looks so, like, it looks like I did not make this because I don't make anything this nice. Are you kidding me? Like, let me show you on here what does look like I made it, because it is not perfect. This sewing job, who sews like this? I sew like this. This had to be all be seamed together, and I am a trash sewer. So I seamed it real good, and then I seamed it real good again on the front, other side, and then the back actually turned out looking pretty nice. The back seam looks a lot better than the front seam does, which is unfortunate because I don't have really big boobs. So there's nothing really to cover up the fact that this seam is hideous outside of standing very far back. I liked this pattern because it was very modifiable, and I did wear this to the beach. I also lost it in the sand and couldn't find it. It was perfectly sand colored for the Rockaway Beach sand in the Rockaways in New York. And the thing that really sucks about this is the yarn. The yarn makes a nice fabric, but the Circulo sugarcane base yarn was terrible. And I used 4 full skeins. I thought I could get away with 3, but I couldn't. I had to break into that 4th, and it was a sad day. I watched, well, it was Pride and Prejudice and Persuasion back to back. I talked about this in my first episode because I made a Sophie scarf, a little one, for a family member out of what was left, because there was quite a bit left from making this, and it just killed me. Every skein was knotted. It took hours to unwind. I had to tie knots in the end of everything, and you can see them, like all the ends I've tied in knots, like just even from looking here. I iron it really tight, and I had to physically focus so hard on knitting tight and consistent for this whole garment, and then to have like all of this stuff. This is the front, the little imperfections showing up and sticking out all over the place. It's very disheartening. I love the top. I love that my friend and I have the same one. I would certainly knit this again with literally any other yarn, anything else. But I had a great time, outside of all of the tears from unwinding hanks and making them into balls. And it has nice drape. It's quite heavy, drapey heavy, because it's a plant-based fiber. And that is everything I've made so far this year. That is a garment for myself. In the first video I posted, I shared all of the scrappy projects I've knit, and those were all scraps from these primary projects that I started the year off with, January through June. So that's that. Thank you so much for joining me on this video adventure and going with me through the first half of 2023. This was quite fun. I can't wait to see what the back end of 2023 looks like. I'm loving the projects I'm currently knitting on, and I got some ideas for upcoming projects. I have the yarn for upcoming projects. I don't collect stash. I don't do large purchases of yarn and hoard them or stash them. I don't have space. So I have all the yarn and all the future projects booked on the docket. So I do know what's coming, and I'm very excited. So can't wait to share that with you when the time comes. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Again, thank you for watching and sharing your time with me. This truly is the most special and means the world to me. So thank you so much. Please subscribe if you've liked what you've seen and want to watch more. And I'll see you when I see you.